is Thursday morning, so glad you're watching. You know, Drew, you mentioned readjust. I think that's what Rod has to do for the forecast. It was so gorgeous last night, and then we wake up to rain.
I know, 61 in downtown.
It was
awesome.
awesome.
Here at KGW yesterday. Yeah, it was incredible. All right, we have a weather system coming inland this morning. It's a low, and it's already producing some gusty winds at the coast, and we could see some 30-mile-per-hour plus winds here in the valley through mid-morning. We've got some gaps in the rain right now. There's Salem, good morning. But overall, the rain gaps will fill in, and this will go on to be a pretty wet morning, followed by decreasing showers this afternoon. Portland's in the low 40s right now. Here's the bus stop forecast. Rain, windy mid-morning potentially, 43 degrees out the door. It's showers at noon, could still be pretty wet, 47. When the kids get out of school, 50 degrees, and by that time, we think just a few scattered showers around, and that's your Thursday forecast.
All right, Rod, thank you. We'll check in with you soon. We want to give you a live look at the White House this morning because in just a few hours, President Biden will provide an update on his COVID response plan. He's expected to announce the federal government is sending medical teams to 6 of the hardest hit states in an effort to help hospitals overburdened by COVID. Those states include Ohio, Michigan, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, and Rhode Island. Now, this comes as the Omicron variant now accounts for 98% of U.S. cases. A new California study shows it's less likely to lead to hospitalization, ICU admission, or death than the Delta variant. But even so, the sheer number of cases means nationwide ICUs are 82% full, which is a pandemic high.
It's important to note that Omicron continues to be much more transmissible than Delta.
With businesses and schools struggling to stay open, the White House is now sending 10 million more COVID tests to K through 12 grades every month. He also named a new testing coordinator charged with increasing access across the country and speeding up results.
Well, Nina, you said it this morning. The Omicron surge is impacting more schools, specifically in Portland. The David Douglas District announced it's closed today and again tomorrow, giving the staff there time to prepare for distance learning if that becomes necessary.
Of course, COVID issues have already forced some schools to go back to remote learning this week. With that in mind, KGW's Christine Pitawanich reached out to a couple of local educators to get some tips on helping kids with the switch.
Good morning. Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, we talked about this a lot, how parents can keep their kids engaged in online learning. But because of the Omicron variant, many students are back to remote learning or might be soon. So we thought it might be helpful to get in touch with a couple of online learning experts who could give parents some tips.
I'm Allison Galvin, Executive Director at Oregon Charter Academy.
Hi, I'm Todd Schweitzer. I'm the Executive Director at Frontier Charter Academy.
Both Allison Galvin and Todd Schweitzer are parents themselves and understand the stress and uncertainty that comes along with the pandemic. Add in a last-minute transition back to online learning, and many parents are scrambling to accommodate. So here are some ideas that'll hopefully help ease the transition back to temporary distance learning.
There's a few tips and tricks that really help families set up their student to have a successful online experience, including creating a designated learning space in their home, even if it's just a corner of a room, that they have that designated space, that's where work gets done.
Another thing, set a schedule.
Whatever that schedule looks like for that household, having it be a consistent schedule. I know when my daughter was at home, we said, okay, 9 to 3, that's our learning time.
And don't forget about breaks.
Younger children do not have the cognitive development to be able to focus on a task for long periods of time.
We really encourage building in multiple breaks. We even talk to families, set recess during your day, have multiple recesses throughout your day, and even call it that.
If you've got a student who just isn't motivated,
I think the best piece of advice is just reassure them this is temporary.
Another thing that might help, connecting kids with a teacher or a counselor, because relationships are beneficial. For special needs kids who may need more help focusing, consider doing schoolwork in smaller chunks and make use of rewards. Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.
Well, a Portland man has designed a website to track availability of those at-home COVID test kits online. Scott Krieger designed 8tests.com, and the website tracks the number of tests available at a bunch of online stores, including Amazon, Walgreens, and Rite Aid.
I had a lot of friends over the holidays that were like, where can I get a test? You've got some tests, Scott. Where do you buy these? And it's just like, I just want to be able to send them a link. They can hit a button and check, 6 different sites at once.
That's pretty cool. His timing is great because starting on Saturday, a new policy under the Biden administration will require insurance companies to reimburse people for up to 8 COVID tests a month. That means a family of 4 on an insurance plan qualifies for 32 tests. Just save your receipts.
All right, this next headline grabbed my attention this morning. Nike will fire unvaccinated workers as soon as this weekend. That's according to a report from the Oregonian. So Nike has a vaccine mandate that's been in place since October, and it requires all employees who have not received a qualified exemption to get fully vaccinated by this Saturday, January 15th. The mandate falls in line with President Biden's vaccine requirement for large companies, which went into effect on Monday. Along those same lines, the Oregonian report says that Columbia Sportswear is also set to fire unvaccinated workers without an exemption at the start of February.
This morning, we're following up on the news that Mother's Bistro in downtown Portland is closing for the rest of the month because of COVID. The restaurant had 3 employees test positive at different times. The owner said she decided to shut down for a few weeks to keep the rest of the staff and customers safe. Workers will have to apply for unemployment, but mothers will continue covering their health insurance costs.
Right now, I think we're listening to our guests and giving them what they want. A time to hunker down, be safe, not transmit the virus. And I just hope, and my message is, come back and stay with us, stick with us. We're really trying here.
Lisa Schroeder says she plans to reopen Mother's Bistro coming up on February 3rd.
Vancouver has 1 sanctioned homeless site up and running, and the city has already greenlit funding to build 2 more. 20 of these tiny homes make up the city's first safe stay community, and each house can accommodate 2 people. They include heat, power, a secure door, and most importantly, wraparound services to help people eventually get into permanent housing. City leaders voted this week to spend more than $400 grand to buy more of these little homes made by a company called Pallet Shelter.
We looked at the success, taking it a little at a time, and we said, yeah, let's go for it. We know the prices are going to go up on all of those. We know that we have a goal for 2 more communities.
So locations for those 2 new sites have not been identified yet, but the mayor says the next one will be in West Vancouver. They hope to have it open in March.
All right, we want to give you an update this morning on the town of Leavenworth. Leavenworth, Washington continues to dig out of record-breaking snow. Last week, it got 4 feet of snow in some spots in the span of 2 days. 4 feet in 48 hours. So the town's mayor wound up declaring a state of emergency last Friday. And since that time, the National Guard has been there helping clear roads, and the Guard is going to stay there for at least a few more days.
We got freezing rain this morning, which on top of the snow makes things very icy. There were cars going off the road all over the county, and that ice stretched as far east as Spokane.
So they're helping to clear roads, but really the primary goal of the National Guard there is wellness checks. In one day alone, Guard members knocked on 250 different doors because people in those homes haven't been able to leave their homes for days. So, Rob, we're telling people about this story this morning, But really, I feel like locally, the story is the fact that it hit 60 degrees in some spots here.
Hold on, Drew. Let me grab my sheet. I'm coming back.
Tell me about the sheet as we.
No, I wrote this down.
All
right. So downtown Portland yesterday, 61. Hillsborough 61. Salem 60. Beaverton 61. Bend was 59. Astoria 60. Tillamook 61, Seaside 60. I think there were a few more spots.
You want to add a number to that? You can put Drew's Nissan Rogue, 61 degrees. That's what my car said at 2 p.m. yesterday.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that report, sir. It was amazing. Now, the airport, PDX, stayed in the 50s. They still had a bit of an east wind out of the gorge, so the record there doesn't, or stays. That record 62 degrees. Here's a look at what's going on right now. So see the little spinning? I think you can see it. That's a low center. There's a front out ahead of it. All this comes pushing through the area into Portland between about 8 and 9 o'clock this morning, the actual frontal passage. We've had some gusty winds up to about 35 at the coast. Right now, south of 33 in Newport. forward. And we could see similar wind gusts in that mid-morning hour, 8 o'clock hour today, maybe jumping up to about 30-something miles per hour. That will catch your attention. So just want you to know about that. The rain picking up, pretty wet morning overall. Watching gorge temps. Oh, I tell you what, you folks just can't warm up and stay there. 32 in Hood River and Mosier and the Dalles right now. As clouds thicken, your temperatures will probably jump a couple degrees, but just throwing it out there, you could have a period of some freezing rain this morning before your temperatures warm up in the gorge as the moisture starts coming in. 50 in Astoria right now, and Salem and Eugene. Portland's at 48, so pretty comfortable outside. 32 out in Baker City is your current number this morning. So overall, we're looking for kind of a breezy, wet morning and then calming, decreasing afternoon showers. That's the forecast picture today. We should jump up into the low 50s for highs this afternoon, about 50 in Battleground as well, and similar conditions up through southwest Washington. Rain totals today, I think most of us at least get a quarter of an inch. Some of us could get more than that up and down I-5. Lingering shower tonight, but you wake up tomorrow morning, we're dry. We become partly cloudy, and there's that dry weekend, a late shower coming Dr. Martin Luther King Day on Monday into Tuesday, and that's your forecast.
Glad you haven't changed the weekend. Thank you, Rod. Okay, drivers, weigh in. Is there a road that you think is dangerous? A new program in Vancouver wants to help how you can report a problem. Plus, get those W-2s ready. Tax season is almost here. The IRS has pushed back the filing deadline for the last few years. Hear why that may not be the case in 2022.